In the center of the Arzari Empire's capital floated a massive golden structure known as the Starlight Dome. It was not only a palace but also a meeting place for leaders from across the galaxy. Inside it, thousands of alien diplomats, scientists, and observers sat in silence as Empress Zaraya walked slowly toward this center platform. Tall and graceful, Empress Zaraya wore silver armor that sparkled like the stars. Her long violet cape trailed behind her, and her bright blue eyes looked calm but serious. She stopped at the middle of the platform and raised her hand. The crowd quieted even more. She looked around the dome and then spoke, her voice strong and cold. The human species has now entered galactic space. They have sent their ambassadors, scientists, and messages of peace. But let us not forget they are weak. Emotion guides them more than logic. Chaos, not discipline, is their way. Gasps echoed through the hall. Some nodded in agreement, while others frowned. Their planet, she continued, is filled with division. They argue over borders, beliefs, and leadership. Their machines are powerful, yes, but unstable. Their minds are clever, yes, but foolish. Humans may walk among us, but they are not equal. She paused. We, the Arzari, must lead with wisdom, not pity. We do not need their culture, their ideas, or their chaos. The Arzari Empire will not bow to humans, and we will not let them infect the peace of this galaxy. As she finished, a large group of Arzari citizens stood and clapped. Others remained seated, uneasy with her words. Among them were alien species from distant systems, tall ones with glass-like skin, short ones with glowing eyes, and even a few humans who had come to witness this historic event. One of the humans, Rian, sat in the back row. He was a young science officer from Earth, selected to be part of the Earth Galaxy Cooperation Program. He had worked hard to earn his seat, learning multiple alien languages and studying galactic history. But now he sat silently, his hands clenched. His face was calm, but inside his heart beat faster. She thinks we're beneath her, he whispered to himself. Rian was not angry, he was disappointed. He had hoped for friendship between Earth and the powerful Arzari Empire. Instead, the most important leader in the galaxy had just declared humans unworthy. Back on Earth, millions watched the speech through live broadcasts. News reporters, politicians, and scientists debated the Empress's words. Some were offended, others worried, and a few even agreed that humanity still had a long way to go. But no one knew that Empress Zaraya's heart was not as cold as her words. Behind the curtain of power and pride, Empress Zaraya sat in her private chamber hours after the speech. Her face was tired, her crown placed gently beside her. Only one being stood with her, her trusted assistant, an android named Cora. You said what they expected, Cora said in a soft mechanical voice. Zaraya didn't answer at first. She looked out the tall window at the stars. They expect strength. So I gave them strength, Zaraya replied quietly. They fear humans, so I made them feel safe. But do you fear them? Cora asked. Zaraya turned away from the window. Her expression changed, just for a moment. It softened. No, she said. I don't fear them, I envy them. Cora tilted her head. Envy, Empress? Zaraya closed her eyes. Her mind went back to a time not long ago. A visit to Earth. A small observatory in the mountains. A man with dark hair, clear eyes, and a curious mind, a man named Rian. She remembered how they argued about science and philosophy, how they walked under Earth's sky, looking at the stars, how she had felt something strange, something she had never felt in all her years as ruler. Connection.emotion.zureo opened her eyes again. Humans feel too much, she said, and yet they are not weak. Not truly. Then why did you say they are inferior? Cora asked. Because the council would never understand, she replied. They want power, order, tradition. If they knew what I truly felt, if they knew what I did. She stopped. Cora stepped closer. No one knows, Empress. The secret is safe, but time is not. Zaraya walked toward a hidden door at the side of the chamber. It opened with a soft hum. Inside was a small room, warm and quiet. And in the center, resting in a clear pod, was a baby girl. She was sleeping peacefully. Her tiny hands curled near her face. Zaraya leaned down and placed a gentle hand on the pod. The baby's skin was soft pink like a human, but her eyes, when they opened, were Arzari blue. Her name was Nira, Zaraya whispered. You must never be discovered. Not yet. The galaxy is not ready. The Empress, who had just told the galaxy that humans were foolish and chaotic, now looked with love at her half-human child. Her heart ached, but she knew this truth had to remain hidden until the time was right. Back in the Starlight Dome, the world continued to talk. Messages came from every planet. The news spread fast. Some aliens praised the Empress. Some warned of trouble. And on Earth, Rian stood on his balcony at the space station, staring at the stars. He didn't know the Empress remembered him. He didn't know he had a daughter, not yet. 1 year before the Empress's famous speech, a quiet shuttle landed in the mountains of northern Earth, far from cities and noise. The night was cool, and the sky was full of stars. A small observatory stood alone, its dome open to the sky. Scanning the heavens. Inside, Rian worked late, adjusting the telescope. He didn't expect visitors, especially not aliens. So when the door opened and a tall woman in a hooded robe entered with a translator device on her wrist, he was surprised. You're not part of the Earth science team, Rian said, stepping forward. The woman removed her hood. Her skin had a light silver glow. Her blue eyes stared at him calmly. She spoke through the translator. I am from the Arzari Empire. This is an unofficial visit. Rian raised an eyebrow. Unofficial? That sounds suspicious. She smiled. Slightly. Call it curiosity. Rian looked at her carefully. He didn't recognize her as Empress Zaraya. She wore no crown, no royal mark. To him, she was just another alien scientist visiting Earth, though something about her felt different. Name? He asked, keeping his tone neutral. You may call me Zura, she said. He nodded. All right, Zura, I'm Rian. Welcome to the observatory. Just don't break anything. She walked around the room slowly, looking at the telescope, the star charts, the models of planets. This planet is full of sound, she said. Even the silence here is alive. Rian smiled. You should see it during the day. People, machines, wind, music. Earth is never fully quiet. She paused at the window and looked at the sky. It's beautiful. There was a long silence. Then Rian asked, Why are you really here? Zura looked at him with steady eyes. Do you think humans are ready to join the galaxy? Rian thought for a moment. Some are, some aren't. We're still learning. Still making mistakes. She tilted her head. Do you fear being judged? He laughed a little. I expect it. Every time we meet a new species, we hope they see our good side. But we know they'll see our bad side too. Zura nodded slowly. You are honest. I try to be, Rian said. It's easier than lying. She gave him a thoughtful look. Honesty is dangerous in my world. They spent the rest of the night talking about stars, about peace, about choices. Zura asked questions about humans, about feelings, about the meaning of family. Rian asked about the Arzari Empire, about their science and culture. They didn't. Notice how late it had become. The sky began to lighten. Zura stood up. I must return soon. Rian hesitated. Will you come back? She didn't answer directly. If I can. He walked her to the door. Before she stepped outside, she turned to him. You are unlike others I've met, she said. You too, Rian replied. And then she left. The next day, Rian checked the security files. The visit had not been recorded. No camera showed her. entering or leaving. He told no one. He didn't know why he kept it a secret. Maybe because it felt personal. Maybe because he didn't want others to ruin the memory. 2 weeks later, she returned. This time, they watched the stars together. Zura showed him a small device that projected her home system. The stars were closer, brighter, more controlled. She explained how the Arzari shaped their planets, managed their weather, and guided their people. And yet, she said, we have lost something. What? Rian asked. Wonder, she replied. Rian looked at her. You found it again. Didn't you? She looked away. Perhaps. That night, something changed between them. No one else was around. The stars above them seemed to hold their breath. Their words became fewer. Their eyes said more. When she reached out her hand, he didn't step back. When he held it, she didn't pull away. Weeks passed. Zura visited a few more times, always. In secret, always alone. Rian never asked for more than she could give. But one night, as they sat on a rock outside the observatory, she looked up at the stars and whispered, "This must end." "Why?" Rian asked, already feeling the answer. "Because if it continues, I'll break laws that have existed for centuries." He was silent. "Because I am not who you think I am," she said. He looked at her. "Then who are you?" She didn't answer. Instead, she leaned close and placed her forehead against his. "I will remember you," she whispered. And just like that, she was gone. Back in the Arzari capital, Zuraya removed her travel robes and stood once more as the Empress. Cora, her loyal assistant, scanned her quietly. "You were gone for many nights, Empress." Zuraya nodded. "I needed to understand something." Cora studied her. "And did you?" Zuraya closed her eyes. "Yes." 3 months later, during a routine health scan, the doctors found something unexpected. A heartbeat. Zuraya sent everyone away. Only Cora remained. "It is not possible," Zuraya whispered. "You are carrying a child," Cora confirmed. "Half human." Zuraya sat down slowly, stunned. A child. A child born from a forbidden bond. A child that would never be accepted by the council, never be safe in the palace, never be seen as pure. And yet, she felt no fear. Only something new. Hope. Cora looked at her. "What will you do?" Zuraya looked out the window toward Earth. "I will protect her," she said. "Even if I must lie to the galaxy." Far away, Rian stood at the edge of the observatory, looking up at the night sky. He didn't know why she had disappeared. He didn't know what had happened. But he remembered her. Every star reminded him of her voice. Every breeze carried her words. And somewhere, growing quietly in the shadows of a mighty empire, was a life neither of them could yet imagine. A child of two worlds. Inside the royal palace of the Arzari Empire, everything was quiet, perfect, and under control, at least on the surface. Beneath the shining silver floors and tall crystal towers, there was a secret chamber hidden from all eyes. No royal guards walked there. No visitors were allowed. Only 2 souls entered this place, Empress Zuraya and her faithful assistant. The android Cora. In the center of the chamber was a clear pod, surrounded by soft lights and silent machines. Inside the pod, a small baby girl slept peacefully. Her name was Nira. Nira was not like other Arzari children. Her skin was lighter. Her hair had a soft brown shade, something rare in the Empire, but her eyes, bright, glowing blue, showed her royal blood. Her mind was sharp, even as an infant. She responded to sounds light, and emotions faster than any other child. She was the daughter of 2 worlds. Zuraya often sat beside the pod, watching her daughter breathe. Every moment she spent with Nira made her feel something she had never known. As a ruler piece, Cora gently walked in with a report. "Health readings are normal. Brain activity above Arzari average." Zuraya smiled. "She's strong, like her father." Cora said nothing but tilted her head. Do you wish to contact him? Zoraya's smile faded. No, not yet. It's too dangerous. Cora blinked once. He does not know he has a daughter. I know, Zoraya replied quietly. But if the council finds out, they will not just remove me. They will destroy her. Cora nodded. Then we must stay hidden. As months passed, Nira grew faster than most Arzari children. She spoke her first words within a year. She could walk before her first birthday. Her emotions were strong like humans, but her focus and memory were clearly Arzari. She would often look at Zoraya and ask, "Why must I stay in here?" Zoraya gave her the same soft answer each time. Because the world is not ready for you. My light. Sometimes, Nira would place her small hand on the glass wall of the chamber and whisper, "I see stars in my dreams." Zoraya sat beside her, brushing her hair. One day, you will walk among them. Nira smiled brightly, not knowing how heavy those words truly were. Above the secret chamber, the royal palace was as busy as ever. After her strong speech against humans, Empress Zoraya had gained more support from the council. Many Arzari nobles praised her wisdom and power. Her advisors were pleased, but not everyone believed her. One of the palace guards, a young officer named Velan, had always been curious. He admired the Empress, but he also sensed something strange about her behavior. She often disappeared at night. Sometimes, she asked for certain areas of the palace to be closed with no explanation. Velan's curiosity slowly became suspicion. One night, while patrolling the lower palace levels, Velan chased a small maintenance drone that had gone off course. It floated into a hallway that was supposed to be unused. Velan followed it, flashlight in hand, and reached a smooth wall with no door. But when he touched the wall, it shimmered and opened. Behind it, a narrow tunnel appeared. Velan hesitated. Then he stepped in. At the same moment, Zoraya sat inside the hidden chamber with Nira, who was now 2 years old and reading from a small data screen. She was learning fast. Her favorite topics were stars, languages, and earth animals. She loved images of trees and oceans, things she had never seen in real life. Suddenly, Cora rushed in. "Empress, a door has been triggered." Zoraya stood up quickly. "Who?" "Security shows guard Velan. He followed a drone." Zoraya's heart beat faster. She picked up Nira gently. "We must leave this room. Now." Velan moved silently down the tunnel. The light ahead grew brighter. He expected to find storage units or old machines. Instead, he stepped into a warm room filled with quiet humming sounds and saw something that froze him in place. A pod, machines, a child, and the Empress herself. Zoraya stood there, holding Nira in her arms. Cora stepped in front, blocking his path. "Velan," Zoraya said calmly, though her mind raced. "You were not supposed to be here." Velan looked from the child to the Empress. "What is this?" Zoraya walked forward. "You saw nothing." "You will speak of nothing." Velan stared at the child. She is not full Arzari." "No," Zoraya said. "She is not, but she is mine." Velan swallowed hard. "This is treason. You broke the code." Zoraya's voice grew cold. "And yet you will not report me." Velan looked into her eyes. For a moment he wanted to argue, but he saw something in her, something no Arzari ruler had ever shown. Fear. And love. Velan took a step back. Why hide her?" "Because they will not accept her," Zoraya said. "Because they will take her from me." Velan stood in silence. "I can have Cora erase your memory," Zoraya said softly, "but I trust you will not speak." Velan looked at Nira, who stared at him curiously. He took a deep breath. "I will say nothing," he whispered. "But you cannot hide forever." And then he turned and left. Cora looked at Zoraya. "He will keep this secret for now." Zoraya nodded, holding Nira close. But deep inside, she knew the truth. The walls were closing in. Meanwhile, Far across the stars, Rian sat in his space station lab, looking at the same constellations he used to show Zura. He still didn't know who she truly was. But he thought of her often. Her eyes, her voice, her mystery. He worked long hours and read old data logs, hoping to find some trace of her ship, her name, anything. And then, late one night, he found something. A signal. An old encrypted message, barely readable. It carried her voice. Rian, I'm sorry, I had to go. But I did not forget. I never will. He sat up straight, his heart racing. She remembered him. She had tried to reach out. He didn't know why. He didn't know what had happened. But now, more than ever, he felt that something was waiting, some truth hidden in the stars. The secret chamber beneath the Arzari palace had grown quiet over the last few days. Empress Zaraya stood near the center, watching as her daughter Nira solved a floating puzzle with glowing blocks. The child's hands moved quickly. She wasn't just fast, she was learning in ways no normal child could. At only 3 years old, Nira could speak fluently in both Arzari and Earth languages. She could read and write complex symbols. And she could sense emotions even before someone spoke. Zaraya sat beside her. You learn fast, my light. Nira looked up, smiling. The stars speak to me in dreams. Zaraya gently touched her daughter's hair. Maybe they're calling you. Maybe they know who you are. Nira tilted her head. Who am I, really? Zaraya froze for a moment. She had always known this question would come, but not this soon. You are special, she said. You are Arzari, and also human. Nira blinked. What is human? Zaraya stood up and walked to a nearby screen. She touched the panel, and images of Earth filled the display. Blue oceans, green forests, tall cities, and smiling people. This is the other half of your home, she said. A planet called Earth. Nira stared at the pictures. Her eyes sparkled. It's beautiful. Zaraya smiled, but there was sadness in her heart. You cannot go there. Not yet. Why? Nira asked softly. Because the galaxy is still afraid of difference, Zaraya said. And you are different. Meanwhile, above the secret chamber, the palace buzzed with silent tension. Velen, the young guard who had discovered the hidden room, tried to return to normal duties, but his mind was full of questions. He had seen the child. He had seen the truth. He couldn't stop thinking about it. He avoided speaking to others. He watched Zaraya carefully from a distance. Every time he saw her stand in front of the council, speaking boldly against humans, it felt like a lie. One evening, Velen entered a quiet hall where the royal advisor Malvek was studying star charts. Malvik was old, sharp, and always suspicious of Zaraya's behavior. Velen hesitated. Speak. Guard, Malvik said without looking up. I think the Empress is hiding something. Malvik's eyes narrowed. What kind of something? Velen looked around to make sure no one was listening. Then he whispered, I saw a child. In the lower chamber. A child that looks human. Malvik stood up slowly. Are you sure? Velen nodded. Yes, advisor. Malvik's voice turned cold. Leave this to me. Say nothing more. Velen bowed and walked out. Malvik turned back to the star charts, but his mind was now racing. If what Velen said was true, the Empress had broken one of the oldest laws of the Empire. Back in the hidden chamber, Cora entered the room carrying the small cube. She handed it to Zaraya. It is a gift from Nira, Cora said. She built it. Zaraya took the cube and turned it in her hands. As she touched it, the cube glowed and played a soft melody, a song from Earth, one that Rian once played during a quiet night at the observatory. Zaraya sat down, surprised. How did she know this song? Cora replied. She said she hears it in dreams. Zaraya looked at Nira, who was now drawing a picture of a planet with 2 moons and a ring of stars. She's remembering him. Zaraya whispered. Cora nodded. The human part of her mind is waking. Zaraya stood up. We don't have much time. Far across space, in the human space station near Saturn, Rian stared at the encrypted message he had found. He listened to the Empress's voice again. Rian, I'm sorry. I had to go, but I did not forget. I never will. He couldn't stop thinking about her Zura, the mysterious woman from the observatory. He now suspected she wasn't just an ordinary visitor. Her knowledge, her presence, her disappearance, it all pointed to something bigger. Rian decided to search old ship records again. After hours of checking, he found it an unregistered ship from the Arzari fleet had landed. Near the observatory the same night Zura first appeared. He stood up suddenly. She was real, and she was important. His hands shook. His heart told him something else, that she hadn't just disappeared. She had left him. For a reason, he stared out the window, looking at the stars. I need answers. Back in the Arzari palace, Malvek began his secret investigation. He used hidden scanners, reviewed door logs, and watched movement patterns. He noticed strange activity in the lower palace. Supplies delivered with no clear destination. Korra's movements off schedule. Missing files from royal records. Everything pointed to one thing, a hidden room. He called a secret council meeting and shared his findings with 2 senior advisors. The Empress is keeping something from us, he said. And I intend to find out what. They agreed to wait and watch carefully. But Malvek had already made his plan. That night, Zaraya stood at the edge of the hidden room as Nira slept. Korra watched silently. They are getting close, Korra warned. Zaraya nodded. Then it is time. Time for what? Zaraya looked up. Time to send a message to Rian. Korra hesitated. Are you sure? Yes, Zaraya said. If they try to take her, I will not fight alone. He has the right to know. Korra touched a small screen and began preparing a secure transmission. Zaraya recorded a message with a calm voice, but her heart was full of emotion. Rian, I kept her safe. Her name is Nira. She is your daughter. I wanted to tell you, but the danger was too great. Now things are changing. I may need your help. Come to the edge of the star path. I will send coordinates. Don't tell anyone. She ended the message, and Korra sent it using an old diplomatic channel. Then Zaraya looked at her daughter, sleeping peacefully. She is the future, Zaraya whispered, and the galaxy is not ready for her. The halls of the Arzari palace were colder now. Not because of the weather, but because of the growing tension in the air. Empress Zaraya walked with calm steps, her face emotionless. But inside, her thoughts were storming. She knew something was wrong. Someone had seen too much. Someone had spoken. In the quiet lower chambers, Korra moved quickly, preparing supplies, checking hidden exits, and scanning security signals. Her mechanical mind worked fast. She detected extra surveillance systems active near the Empress's private sections, scanners that weren't there before. They are watching us, Korra said to Zaraya. Zaraya nodded. They're closing in. We must prepare to leave. Korra turned toward the small pod at the center of the hidden room. Inside, Nira was reading quietly, her legs swinging from the bench. She looked up as her mother approached. Are we going somewhere? She asked, tilting her head. Zaraya knelt beside her. Yes, my light. Soon we may have to travel. Somewhere safer, somewhere brighter. Will I see the stars? Nira asked with excitement in her voice. Zaraya smiled gently. You will. Far away, on the human space station near Saturn, Rian stood alone in a communication room, staring at a message playing on the screen again and again. Rian. I kept her safe. Her name is Nira. She is your daughter. The words felt unreal. Daughter. He replayed the message, studying every word, every blink of her eyes. The voice was calm, but there was fear behind it, fear and urgency. He opened the file Zaraya had attached. Coordinates. A location near the edge of the Arzari border, far from patrol ships. Deep in space where few traveled. He contacted his closest friend on the station, Lena, and showed her the message. Lena watched in silence. When it ended, she looked at Rian. "You're going, aren't you?" "I have to," Rian replied. "I need to see her. I need to see them both." Lena nodded. "Then take this." She handed him a stealth cloak and a small ship access card. "Go carefully and come back safe." Rian thanked her, then began preparing to leave. He didn't know what waited at those coordinates, but deep in his heart, he already felt a connection to the child. A child he had never met, but somehow already loved. Back in the palace, Advisor Malvek stood in a private chamber with a group of high-ranking council members. He showed them a secret report. "There is a child," he said, "hidden by the Empress, half-human, born in secret." The council members were shocked. One of them asked, "How is this possible?" Malvek replied, "She visited Earth in disguise. She met a human man. And she broke the oldest Arzari law." Another advisor leaned forward. "If this is true, the Empress must be removed." Malvek nodded. "She has betrayed our purity. And now she puts the future of our empire at risk." They agreed to act, but quietly. No public announcement. No sudden moves. First, they would gather proof. Then they would strike. But Zaraya was already ahead of them. That night, Cora activated a false energy reading in the palace's lower section, triggering a system reset in the surveillance room. The guards were distracted. While they rushed to check for damage, Cora opened the hidden tunnel behind the Empress's chamber. Zaraya held Nira close, dressed in a simple travel robe. She didn't wear her crown. Her royal mark was hidden beneath her collar. Tonight, she wasn't Empress. She was only a mother. Cora led them through the tunnel. The lights were low. The path twisted beneath the palace and opened into an ancient landing bay. Long unused. A small ship stood ready, silent, dark, but fast. "Are you ready, Nira?" Zaraya asked. The child nodded. "Yes, mother." They entered the ship, and Cora began the launch process. Just as the doors were closing, alarms blared across the palace. Malvek had discovered the escape. His voice echoed through the command center. "Seal the exits. The Empress is escaping." But it was too late. The ship lifted from the ground, its engines humming softly. Within seconds, it disappeared into the sky, leaving behind the shining towers of the Arzari capital and the life Zaraya had ruled for many years. Inside the ship, Zaraya sat beside Nira, who looked out the window with wide eyes. "Those are real stars," she whispered. "Yes," Zaraya replied softly. "You are finally among them." Cora turned from the control seat. "We are 1 hour away from the meeting point." Zaraya took a deep breath. "Good. He will come." At the edge of Arzari space, a small human ship approached the coordinates. Slowly, Rian sat in the pilot's seat, scanning for signs of life. His heart beat faster every second. Then a signal blinked on his screen. A second ship. He activated communication. A familiar voice came through. "Rian." His breath caught. "Zora?" "Yes," she replied. "Dock with us." Moments later, the two ships connected. Rian stepped into the airlock, heart pounding. As the door opened, he saw her, Zaraya. Standing tall, her eyes full of emotion. He stepped forward. Before he could speak, a small figure appeared beside her. The girl had soft brown hair and glowing blue eyes. She looked up at him. Curious, Zaraya knelt and whispered, "This is Nira, your daughter." Rian dropped to one knee, stunned. "Hello, Nira." The child blinked, then smiled. "You look like me." He laughed softly. "I guess I do." Zaraya watched them. For the first time in years, her heart felt light, but the moment didn't last long. Cora's voice came from the console. "Arzari scout ships detected. We must move now." Zaraya turned to Rian. "Will you come with us?" Rian stood. "Wherever you go, I go." Together, they turned toward the stars. The chase had begun, but so had something else. New beginning. The two ships moved together through deep space like silent shadows, racing away from Arzari territory. Inside the main ship, Zureya, Rian, Nira, and Korra worked together to avoid the patrols chasing them. Every second counted. Every mistake could lead to capture. On one screen, red dots flashed Arzari scout ships. We need to reach the jump point before they close the path, Korra said, her robotic voice calm but alert. Zureya sat in the co-pilot seat. Plot the course to Earth. Activate cloaking. No mistakes. Rian checked the engine systems. I've boosted the thrusters. But we can't outrun them forever. In the back of the ship, little Nira sat near a small window, hugging her knees. Her wide blue eyes looked out at the stars. She was quiet, but her mind was working fast. She could feel the tension in the air, the fear her mother was trying to hide. Zureya came back and sat beside her. We're going home, she whispered. Nira looked up. To Earth? Zureya nodded. Yes, to your other world. Back on Arzari Prime, Malvek stood in the council hall with a cold face. The Empress has escaped. She has betrayed our law. Her child is proof. Some council members were angry. Others were silent. But none of them defended her now. Malvek raised a data crystal. This contains full evidence. Her time is over. The council voted to strip her of royal status. A fleet was sent to search and capture her. She will be found, Malvek said. And the child will be dealt with. In space, Korra guided the ship through a narrow asteroid field. It was dangerous, but it helped block the scanners. Hold steady, she said. Rian kept the ship balanced, hands tight on the controls. He looked at Zureya. Is this what you expected? No, she said honestly, but I knew it was possible. Rian looked at Nira. She's amazing. Zureya nodded. She is more than I imagined. Stronger than both of us. In the corner, Nira stood and walked to the front of the ship. She placed her small hand on the window. I can feel something, she said softly. Zureya leaned down. What do you feel? Nira closed her eyes. They're coming. But they can't see us yet. Korra turned from the controls. Her mind is developing fast. She may be sensing energy patterns. Zureya's voice was proud. She is not just a mix, she is something new. As they neared the edge of Arzari space, alarms rang out. 3 ships behind us, Rian called. They're gaining. Zureya jumped into action. Korra opened the jump gate. Korra pressed the command panel. A bright blue tunnel of light opened ahead, the only way to Earth. They will fire in 10 seconds, Korra warned. Zureya turned to Rian. Full speed. Now, the ship rocketed forward. Energy blasts flew past them, shaking the ship, but missing their target. Nira held onto her seat. Go faster, Papa. Rian smiled despite the danger. Yes, Captain. The ship hit the jump gate just as a blast struck the tail. The screen went white. A moment later, they emerged from the jump gate near Earth's outer orbit. The blue planet hung quietly in space. Korra reported damage. Rear stabilizer hit. We can't return to space quickly. Zureya nodded. It doesn't matter. We're here. Rian stared at Earth, his home, his world, the place where this journey had begun. But now he wasn't returning alone. He turned to Zureya. We need to land somewhere safe. I know a place, she said. They guided the damaged ship toward a small forested island, hidden from cities and satellites. As they landed, the ship shook slightly, but held together. When the doors opened, warm air rushed in. Trees swayed gently. Birds chirped in the distance. Nira stepped outside first. Her feet touched real ground for the first time. She looked around with wide eyes. It smells like flowers. Zureya stepped out behind her and took a deep breath. This world is full of life. Rian smiled. Welcome to Earth. They set up a small shelter using old Earth tech and Korra's tools. They kept communication systems off to avoid detection. For now, they were safe. Over the next few days, they lived quietly. Rian taught Nira how to skip stones on the water and how to climb trees. Zaraya taught her about HFY stars and how to meditate like the royal family once did. Cora studied Nira's brain patterns. Her abilities are growing, she told them. She is forming links between emotion and logic at a level unseen in both species. Zaraya looked at her daughter, now playing with butterflies. She is the future, she whispered. But peace could not last forever. One night while Rian and Zaraya watched the sky, Cora approached them. Emergency signal, she said. A coded message from space. Zaraya stood quickly. From who? Cora played the message. A robotic voice spoke. Fleet approaching. Location known. Time, 2 days. Rian's heart sank. They found us, Zaraya nodded. They will come for her. Rian looked at her. We won't let them take her. Cora added, we have 2 choices, fight or disappear. Zaraya looked at the stars again. There is a 3rd choice. What? Rian asked. We show them who she is, not as a weapon, not as a secret, but as hope. The next morning, Nira stood with her parents near a cliff. Watching the ocean dot, she turned to them. Are they coming? Zaraya knelt down. Yes, but we're ready. Nira took her mother's hand. I'm not afraid, Rian smiled. That's my girl. The sun rose behind them. The sky above the quiet forest island was clear, but tension hung in the air like a silent storm. Empress Zaraya, Rian, Nira, and Cora stood together, watching the horizon. The distant stars blinked, but their peace was about to be broken. HFY fleet was closing in. Zaraya's heart beat steady, but inside, she felt the weight of every moment. She looked at her daughter, now 5 years old. Nira stood tall for her age, her bright blue eyes shining with courage. We face them together, Zaraya said firmly. Rian placed a protective hand on Nira's shoulder. No matter what happens. We are family, Nira smiled. I'm ready. High above, the HFY scout ships appeared in the sky, like dark birds casting long shadows. They moved fast, precise, and without mercy. The lead scout ship sent a message through the communication channels. Empress Zaraya, surrender your daughter and come with us. You are charged with treason against the HFY Empire. Zaraya stepped forward. Her voice was calm but full of power. I am not your traitor. My daughter is not a weapon. She is the future of 2 worlds. The response was silence, suddenly. Bright beams of light fired from the scout ships. But Zaraya did not panic. She activated the ship's cloaking device, which made their small ship invisible to sensors. Cora moved quickly to guide them through a secret path, an ancient route. Known only to royal bloodlines, Rian held Nira close. Hold on. The small ship slipped through the dark forest canopy, hiding from the pursuers. On the ground, the HFY soldiers landed, scanning the area with advanced scanners. They found signs of the small ship, but no clear location. Malvek led the force. His eyes burned with anger. She will not escape justice. Suddenly, his communicator beeped. Empress Zaraya requests a meeting. Malvek frowned. Accept. In a clearing bathed in moonlight, Zaraya stood with Nira and Rian before the arriving soldiers. Malvek stepped forward, his expression cold. Empress, your actions have caused chaos. Explain yourself. Zaraya's voice was strong. I acted as a mother, not a ruler. Nira is not a threat. She is proof that 2 worlds can unite. Malvek laughed bitterly. You risk the purity of the Empire. You defy centuries of law. Nira stepped forward, her small voice clear. Why must I be hidden? Why am I different? The soldiers were silent. Zaraya looked at Malvek. She is not different, she is special. Malvek's eyes softened for a moment, but others will not see it that way. Rian spoke up. You fear change, but change can bring strength. The soldiers shifted uneasily. Suddenly, Nira raised her hand, and a soft light glowed around her fingertips. The light grew, surrounding everyone in the clearing. The soldiers gasped. The light showed them images, Earth's beauty, human kindness, Arzari history, and most of all, the future of cooperation. Malvik's expression changed. His anger faded. This power, it is not just strength, it is hope. Zureya smiled gently. She carries the promise of peace, not only for Arzari or humans, but for the galaxy. The council, watching from afar, received the images through live transmission. The elders were shocked. The oldest council member spoke. Perhaps it is time to reconsider our ways. Malvik turned to Zureya. What do you ask? Acceptance. For her and for the future we can build together. Malvik nodded slowly. Then let the council meet. Let them decide. Days later, the council gathered in the grand hall. The topic was clear: what to do with Nira and her mother. The debates were long and difficult. Some feared loss of power. Others hoped for peace. Finally, the council voted. They accepted Nira as a symbol of unity. They agreed to protect her and to open communication with humans. Zureya stood proudly beside her daughter. Back on Earth, Rian looked up at the stars and smiled. Nira played nearby, laughing with Korra and Zureya. The galaxy was still full of challenges. But for now, there was hope. A hope born from the courage of one Empress, one human, and their child.